Okay, so it's hard sometimes to understand why people think the way they do. This next very quick story is about Sydney properties and how much they've pulled back in prices. What's more interesting is that, and this has happened to me anecdotally with one of my friends, he's bought a unit in Parramatta about 3 years ago, and he is trying to sell it. He had it on auction, nobody turned up, let alone anyone bid. So he's decided to pull it back off the market and have the tenants live in there if he can find any tenants for any decent rent. But he said what everybody says is I'm just going to sit on it for a couple more years before he bounces back. Now, why do people think that it's actually going to bounce back? It will eventually bounce back, but why is it a couple of years? Because if somebody told them it's going to be 10 years before it bounces back, say there was somebody or something, God or what have you, that knew when these prices are turning around, and these people were told, listen, it's going to be 10 years. They are not prepared for that truth, for example, and they will have to believe that it's 1 or 2 years because, again, they just are not prepared to wait for that long, so they think. But what happens is that 5, 6, 7, 8 years later, they're saying, it's only going to be a couple more years, surely. Even then, they're not going to believe that this can take several more years, not just 1 or 2 years as they believe.
Today, more and more new homes are being built in Box Hill, but as fast as they're springing up, prices are going down.
It doesn't bother us at all. We've got plenty of time to wait for it to bounce back.
Alison and Phil Duke are building a 5-bedroom dream home, $1 million investment in 2017. They're still confident it'll pay off.
And we're planning to be in here for, quite a few years.
Everything has softened a little bit, but we're quite insular out here. And we've got good infrastructure coming to the area. So with the North West Rail Link coming out here, I think if you get in on the ground, you'll certainly make money in the future.
But with banks clamping down on borrowing and the market slowing, good things will take time.
If you're probably looking at buying something and selling it, you probably missed that boat.
The suburb's been in development overdrive, but in the last year, median prices here in Box Hill have dropped from $1.5 million to $895,000. It's one of 32 Sydney suburbs to drop below the $1 million mark. Mulgoa, Glenwood and Kellyville Ridge are also on the list. But as Box Hill changes and grows, experts say the data will too.
A few years ago, sale prices would represent larger blocks of land. Now they represent smaller house and land packages.
And there's always a silver lining for those who can take a short-term hit.
But it's a great time to upsize. If you're selling something at sort of 600,000, yes, you've lost 5-odd%. But if you're looking at something at $1 million, it's come down a lot further.
Ruth Wynne Williams, 9 News.
All right, so there was a second piece of psychology there that somehow this time is different, or this suburb is different, or this country is different. So what they were saying for a long time is that, hey, Australia is different. The property can never crash in Australia because of ABC, whatever else other arguments they had. And now that real estate agent is saying, this is also different. We've got the public transport coming, which is true, but once that confidence is lost and people are seeing prices dropping and not seeing the end, it's very hard to sell into that market, especially when you have high expectations. So one is the bounce back is just around the corner, and the second one is, hey, we are different here in this suburb. It's a good suburb, solid houses. We've got infrastructure coming. We got this or that or whatever other argument, again, you want to mount. Okay, so instead of saying what we think is going to happen or what we would like to happen in the property market, depending on what side of the fence you are, let's see what actually is happening to the property market at the moment.
Australia's property downturn is showing no signs of slowing down, with Melbourne chalking up its fastest quarterly fall on record. Capital cities went backwards 1% in January, with Sydney and Melbourne leading the way, as tighter lending conditions continue to dent confidence ahead of the federal election. Hobart was the best performer with a 7% rise last year, but fell into negative territory for the first time last month. Canberra was the only capital where prices aren't going backwards.
Okay, well, Canberra is not going backwards. My guess is that that's the capital of Australia. There's a lot of government jobs there, and the government is taxing us like they've never taxed us before. So taxing continues, government employees continue to prosper, and the property market in Canberra is going up. Everywhere else, it's up the creek without the paddle. All right. Thank you, everybody, for watching this video, and we'll talk again soon.